TTT THROWDOWN!
On this week's Throwdown, we have Cool Caden demo the workout.
We've got power snatches, thrusters, and bar facing burpees.
What's gonna be a spicy one?
This week's Throwdown is 5 rounds of 8 power snatches and 10 bar facing burpees into 5 rounds of 8 thrusters, 10 bar facing burpees.
Except it's ground to overhead.
Except it's ground to overhead.
Wow, you just... For movement standards, a warm-up, and scaled versions of this workout, check the description down below.
This week's demo athlete is Caden. He has finished 8th at the CrossFit Games in the 14-15 teen division. This year, he's trying to make it to the CrossFit Games in the higher teen division.
And for this week's Alexis Wap.
And for this week's Alexis Waba's belt. And this week's winner of the Alexis Raptis 2-Pood belt is Sandra Stewart 3359. Is that really your last name?
Yeah, that was good.
You want to know her comment?
Yeah,
What's the comment?
Are these random comments? These are Chris just cherry-picking comments.
Her comment was, love a wall walk with a couple emojis.
What a comment.
And if you want a chance to win a 2-Pood belt, stop laughing. Leave a comment down below. Talk about how wonderful Max, Mia, and myself are, and you'll definitely get picked because Chris is the one picking the winners.
Targets for this workout. For elite athletes, we're going to kind of use the sub 10 minute as our target time frame for this. Now, we can use 20.1 as kind of understanding where the data is. So if you go and look where the top level athletes in the world are, sub 10 is probably elite. For RX level athletes, we think somewhere between 13 and 15 is probably a realistic target to shoot for. If you're finishing this under the time cap, you are probably making it into quarterfinals. And then as an intermediate athlete, somewhere around 8 rounds would probably be a target on this workout. It's going to be substantially slower with both the barbell and the bar facing burpees. So go after those. If you want to upgrade your coaching systems, head over to trainingthinktank.com/movement course. Scroll down to the bottom of the page where you'll be able to get the first section of the course for free. 2, 1, and the caveman.
I have fond memories of this workout.
This is
back when I was in shape.
20.1 is gross, and it humbled me and broke me.
This workout sucks.
So when I talked to Caden before this workout, he originally told me that he was going to do singles on all the snatches. And I was like, no, dude. He ended up doing, get out of here with that. He ended up doing, he said he was going to start with 5 and then 3 singles. We'll see if he sticks to that as he goes. He also did the actual 20.1 6 weeks ago. We went on a huge off-season strength program, and he felt like his engine was bad. We did that, and he got time capped. So he went into this one just trying to see if he could beat the cap.
Right. Yeah, this one's obviously a little bit different because you're doing your first 5 rounds with ground to overhead, which means you can snatch or power clean jerk if you want. I think most elite athletes snatch this in 2020, and then it's thrusters after that. So you got to keep in mind you're both pulling off the ground and doing some squat endurance work too.
So that first round, 55 seconds, that gives you basically the impression that somebody could do a workout like this sub 10 minutes. The actual 21 or 20.1 scores were like almost sub 8, right?
Yeah, some of the elite athletes were in the low 8s. Keep in mind that the thruster is going to be a little bit different than ground to overhead, but most people were 10 to 15 minutes in that workout.
So what do you guys feel about doing like at what point in terms of like overall time or overall fitness would singles or bigger breaks in these sets make sense for people?
The separator on this workout, and it was true in 2020, was the burpee. So you can go slower on the snatch if you're not sacrificing burpee speed. You just have to be able to push the burpees. And if you go back and watch someone like Noah was a great example of this. I think he was top 5 in the world in that workout. His burpee cadence was the same in round 1 and round 10, and that's where it has to be if you're going to do singles if you're an elite level athlete. Some people are just going to have to do smaller sets on the ground overhead.
I think if you have to do singles, should you do clean and jerks?
Maybe do touch and go clean and jerks,
or
just single clean
and jerks. I don't know. I just think that if the weight is a bottleneck to the point where you have to do singles, snatching it might be too difficult, right?
Maybe, yeah. Do you think I should make fun of Caden in this, or only talk about technical stuff?
That's on you.
Well, I mean, is it going to be funny, or so feel bad?
No, I don't think we'll feel bad. We were laughing. I was just thinking because you were zoomed in and Caden has a little bit of a pain face.
Oh, he
and
has the greatest pain face.
He
Oh,
does.
the
baby.
smooth.
That was almost bad.
Yeah, and he has a video of him doing cross under double unders in their freeze frame, and he's like in the middle of making the biggest grimace of all time. I think I'm going to give it to you so you can post.
Yeah, he has great faces.
Well, his footwork is really good here. He's always facing the same way when he turns, which means he's always turning in the opposite direction. That probably sounds really confusing, but it makes sense. And then his footwork is not changing as he goes through his reps.
Yeah, and that really is one of the keys to faster bar facing burpees. Either if you're trying to do them at full speed, maybe popping up instead of the step technique, but you'll notice in less fit athletes as you get into round 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they start taking extra steps up to the bar, extra steps on the other side, and those add up so much. An extra second a rep in the last 4 rounds is 40 seconds on the workout.
If you are going to do singles, I think you need to put both hands on the bar at the same time. So definitely practice that in your warm-up because he loses about a second there for each bar grab.
Yeah, a second, maybe a second and a half too.
Can I get a 2 second?
Still move through them well. I think that's a good strategy, for Caden doing the 5 and then the 3 singles. But again, like his burpee speed is starting to slow down. And part of that is he's getting back into CrossFit shape. And anybody that does this workout now that hasn't done a lot of CrossFit, it's just going to hurt. But you have to pick your poison in a workout like this. If you're going to slow down on one piece and you want to have an elite level time, you have to make sure you pick up the other piece. Yeah,
so he's still on he was 55 seconds to begin in his first round. So that means he would be 340 if he kept that pace to finish 4. He's, I think, finished right here at 4:15. So he's definitely slowed substantially, but still kind of close to that 1 minute per round. This is his first real long transition, it seems.
And that's the other thing is you have to be okay with there being some deterioration because that first round's almost always, even if you're pacing it well, going to be a little bit faster and there's going to be some drop off.
Going into the, thruster, I think thruster burpee might be, is this worse than 20.1?
I don't know. Maybe just the fact that it changes makes it a little bit better.
Yeah, because you only have 5 more to do of something different.
Yeah, maybe. I could be wrong, though.
We'll see when we feel it.
Both are really tough combos. And the reason that we chose the thruster burpee is because that's also been programmed often. Now, there may be a change with Bosman programming now, but we've seen thruster burpee and snatch or power clean and burpee in the open quite a few times.
So he's done snatching and now he's burpeeing, but he's going to go back to thrusters instead. So I wanted to make one point. If you're going to do singles and you have the ability to use dead plates as opposed to bumpers like this and potentially even ride the bar down from overhead and almost keep your hands on the bar to push it back down so it doesn't bounce sideways and then you're not having to do 1-hand, 2-hand setup, you can save a pretty substantial amount of time when you're doing singles that way.
What if I want to be getting that extra rack?
Yeah, maybe,
maybe
he did it.
bounce.
Yeah, he did it on purpose. Smart little man.
This is where if I'm critiquing Caden, I'm like, hey, look, you're changing into a different movement pattern. Just get on the barbell and do your first set. I know that that's much easier said than done, especially in the middle of a workout like this. But I always believe that if you can change a movement pattern, going from a snatch to a thruster, try to get there quickly, and then take your break in between the movements in the next set.
Ooh, just looking at his face makes me think thrusters are worse than snatches.
Positions look pretty good still. I mean, you're 6 minutes into a really hard workout. It's going to be really easy to dump forward. Your knees cave in a little bit, be up on your toes. So being sound with your movement patterns, I think, is a really good step.
Footwork
and
change.
now we saw the change in footwork. So now there's a hop up, 1, 2 steps on each side, and then 2 steps on the other side before going back. Whereas before it was just 1 step, then a jump. So that's probably adding a second or maybe a little bit less or a little bit more than a second on every single one of these. So just right there.
Now
in that,
I just changed it again.
Oh, that little monster. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what athletes, I think, do maybe to continue working and recover. So good on him for doing it.
Yeah. I've seen Travis do that a lot. He changes his patterns often in a workout just to try to find a pathway to continue to move. And so if you can do that and do it well, I think it makes sense. But having good footwork on something like the burpee and keeping it consistent, I think really helps.
Yeah, I think so too.
So he opened with 8 unbroken thrusters. I'm interested to see if he keeps those.
Yeah, I think he will.
That transition back to the barbell was much faster than the transition from the burpees to the barbell in the first set of thrusters, which I think is, again, that's where you're winning workouts like this. Everyone's going to take some breaks in between movements, but if you can cut that down just a little bit, it's going to help you.
Yeah, so now he's back to his original footwork, which I like. So I don't know what that was, like a mental lapse, or if he was just redline and trying to get around it, or what.
That change from the snatch into the thruster may have fatigued his legs in a different way, and he felt like he had to hop up that way as opposed to the step. Because sometimes, like, your hamstrings get tight, the step up's pretty challenging.
Yeah.
He does a really good job of getting his chest to the ground fast. That's something that I struggle with on burpees, and I know a lot of athletes will slow that down even more when they get fatigued, which is like the opposite of what you should do.
Yeah.
But he does it well.
Yeah, I think if you are a high-level performer, you want to think about getting your shoulders down to the ground quickly. And what I would suggest is first, then your hips hit so that you meet the standard. Your hips, your chest, your thighs are all touching the ground. As soon as your hips hit, you're pressing back up where your shoulders now come off. So it almost looks like a worm.
So the separation in this workout, to kind of jump to a different topic, at the higher levels is really about the rest breaks between movements. I mean, the burpees were a separator, but watching Caden here, he's going to have done a lot of the work unbroken, but being 20 seconds per transition back to the thrusters or back to the power snatch, that adds up a lot. Whereas if you watch the top scores, they're basically going from one movement to the next movement back and forth for all 10 rounds without real long, significant breaks.
Yeah, a good thing to do if you want a top time is to go back and look at film from the 2020 workout. You can see a lot of high-level and mid-level athletes and get an idea of like wherever your peer group is. Try to watch some of those videos. You can just go on the game site and look who posted videos on the leaderboard. And then you can get an idea of how long your transition should be, how fast your reps should be, how fast your burpees should be, and that will allow you to kind of dial in your goal score.
I got time capped on this, I think. Or no,
What-
13
what's
no,
the
13
cap?
rounds. 13 minutes, I think.
That's solid.
Yeah, maybe.
That's not bad at all. Could you
gotta
get
go back
13
and
minutes
look.
right now?
I don't know, we'll find out.
So this rest break is getting longer. Do you think it would be smart to just do a set of 4?
I think so. That last set of thrusters, though, was kind of shaky. It looked like he was getting thrown all over the place. So I'd like to this camera angle is also a little hard to see what's going on. It looks like depth could be not as deep, but it's hard to know because it looks like Chris is under him.
Yeah,
looking
that
up.
angle
So
is
that
hard.
angle's hard to see what's going on, but he was going back and forth in the last set, which made me think like he might have needed the rest. But that set looked pretty good in terms of the speed of motion there. What do we have? Is this the round 9, I think, right?
I think we're in round 9. I was just thinking about the thrusters, and I'm a big fan of, for those that are higher level athletes, learning how to move fast and then taking that like short rest break before going into the next piece if you have to, as opposed to going really slow on the movement pattern. So in other words, like if you're going to do your thrusters, just try to get them done with quickly. And like you see, he's picking up his burpee pace a little bit. I think it's a really good strategy for some people.
Yeah, like if you do 4 reps and drop it and then pick it up and do 4 reps and they're quick
Yeah.
versus doing 8 that are slow,
Exactly.
you actually end up being the same amount of time.
All right. So
Is he done or is he resting?
No, he's resting.
Okay, good.
it looks like he's watching the clock.
Yeah.
At 42, we have a 20-second rest break.
So that was
So-
22 seconds before, and I think this is the last round here.
I feel like it would be better to maybe take like a 7-second rest break and do half of the set.
I agree.
Because it seems like these sets of 8 are taking a lot out of him.
Yeah.
I know it's the last round, though, but
Easier said than done for all of us sitting here
Yeah,
behind
yeah,
the mic.
yeah.
We know how hard it is.
Just in general, trying to hang on to big sets when it's not appropriate for you anymore is a mistake that people do make in open quarterfinal workouts. So
This
just
is-
be aware of that.
Yeah, this is also a really solid sprint
Great,
finish.
yeah,
You
great
can see
job.
that his footwork is
Just doing the
basically
2-foot hop.
for the
Yeah.
2-foot hop for sprinting. Done.
Nice.
11:24.
Great job, Caden.
Dead to the world. We know he worked hard for that one. Great work. We pick it apart, but you're getting better. Crushing it.
Shoes off. That was a really efficient
That was
shoe
impressive.
exit.
I
Yeah.
feel like those shoes aren't tied.
You got loose shoes on doing burpees?
It's a wrap, you know what I'm saying? Your boy Project Pata in this thing, man. Hey, look, man, thank y'all for watching Training Think Tank's YouTube channel. Y'all hit that motherfucking subscribe button, you know what I'm saying? So y'all go ahead, man. Thank y'all for watching the channel, you know what I'm saying? Hit that motherfucking subscribe button, let it be known, what it be known, what it be known, you know what I'm saying? Pata.